In this video I'm going to do a comparison between the Ranger G2 and the Bixler 1.1. They're both sort of similar planes, beginner planes, basic FPV planes I guess. Both new on the market. You can see the Bixler 1.1 version 2 is a little bit bigger wingspan, but the Ranger G2 has more space, better access into the battery bay than the Bixler one. It's a bit more chunky in the fuselage. There's the Bixler 1.1. See, there's a lot less sort of access there. Let's get the Ranger G2 up and flying. Both of them are flying on 3S 2200s. A little bit of wind around, coming and going, but let's go for a fly. They're both pusher planes, so they both need a decent throw to launch them nicely. About half throttle. Give it a toss and away she goes. There is a bit of wind out there, but there's the Ranger 2, Ranger G2. And throttle right back. That's just pretty much gliding actually. Need rudder to turn it around, or yeah, bit of turbulence there unfortunately. It was nice and calm when I first arrived here. Jiggling around. Better keep flying down that way because so I'm not looking into the sun so much. Does benefit from some rudder to help the turn, so it's got a little bit of adverse yaw. Initially I thought it dipped down a bit when you throttle up, but it's not doing that anymore for some reason. But it's easy to fly. It does come with landing gear, which the Bixler 1.1 doesn't, and it has the little fuselage wheel as well. Glides pretty well, but not as well as the Bixler 1.1. And landed. Okay, Bixler 1.1 version 2 now. A little bit more glider shaped, more wing area, so it's going to be a better glider. It's a little bit more stable in this little bit of turbulence in the wind. Motor's a bit noisier because I think the prop is probably a bit closer to the fuselage. Seems to be flying faster. More efficient, I think. Less fuselage drag. And the turned up tips are probably helping a bit with stability, I think. For flying ability I really do prefer the Bixler 1.1. Much smoother. I think the motor is probably a bit more powerful too, got a bit more thrust. Gliding now. Much more stable. So the Bixler's taking less input to keep it stable and fly it around, definitely. And that'll be the bigger wingspan, bigger wing area, and the turned up tips. Just feels to be more efficient. So it is a slightly bigger plane, but with a finer fuselage, so there's less drag. But with that comes the less internal area as well. Less area for flight control boards, bigger batteries and things like that. between the two, I do prefer the Bixler 1.1 better. Makes a great slope soarer too. Easier to catch too. So I'm just quickly switching back to the Ranger G2 just to confirm what I felt. Yeah, it's being a lot more affected by the turbulence. It struggles, really does need rudder in the turns. Much more input to keep it level too. Still a great little plane. Just think the Bixler is easier to fly, more of a glider. It may be my prejudice towards gliders. If you're after a pure FPV plane, then maybe the Ranger G2 would be the better choice. And if you wanted to take off from the ground, that's one thing. I should see if I can... See, that's really struggling against the wind now. It is a lot more draggy. I'll put it down and see if I can take it off. Yeah, no worries. That's pretty cool. Yeah, a lot more adverse yaw. It's the bigger fuselage and sort of shorter moment arm on the rudder, I think. Well, you can do things like that. Touch and go. Another difference between the two, the Ranger G2 has click-in wings, easily removable. The Bixler 1.1 has to be bolted into position, so if you need to remove the wings for transport, the Ranger G2 is a better choice. So they both have their pros and cons. Ranger G2 better for FPV, Bixler 1.1 V2 better for general flying around and gliding. Ranger G2 easy to disconnect the wings, and that'll about wrap it up. Thanks for watching.